Hi, I'm Laura, and this is Trilogy. Today, I'll be completing my felt book tour with the finale, The Shoemaker and the Elves. Pew. Episode 3, Triple Threat with the champion ribbons, of course. And now, time to move on to my favorites of all of the felt books. The last, but certainly not least, The Shoemaker and the Elves. This cover is definitely the most simplistic. I just used big letters and wrote the small ones to try to be similar font, then use big shoe stickers and put my name. So pretty simple, but it's sparkly, so that's a plus. First, I'll show you the characters I made, which I will say I feel like are a lot more well done than the other ones, but I was older when I made them, so that makes sense. Here's the Shoemaker, pretty simple because he's a peasant. Here's his wife. So she's pretty simplistic too, has a little apron and buttons. I put details on their shoes because this is called The Shoemaker and the Elves, so I thought they should all have pretty nice shoes. Here's the rich guy who just buys their shoes from them. He has all the fancy clothing, every color, because colors are expensive. And he has a handful of money, because rich people have money in their hands all the time, obviously. That makes logical sense. Here are the elves. So there's the boy elf and the girl elf. And I gave him a little rosy nose and gave her rosy cheeks. During the story, they gain clothing, so they start like this. At the end, the shoemaker and his wife make some clothing, so here's them with their cute little outfits. See, they got shoes now and they got jackets, so that's what the finished product looks like, and I think they're the best of the felt people I've made. This is a lesser known fairy tale, so you might not know this story, but after this you will. This one is a lot more polished, I feel like, than the other ones, but it is newer. And look, there's a little spindle wheel. That's foreshadowing for later. They have ants, and I put the little 2 stories with a staircase. So I think that's pretty well done, and it's a lot neat and cleaner looking than the other felt books. So there was an honest shoemaker who, despite his hard work, could not earn enough for his wife and himself. He had only enough leather to make 1 more pair of shoes. He cut his leather out, ready to sew the shoes for the next day. As he drifted to sleep, he promised himself they would be the greatest shoes he ever made. Ta-da! So here's the next page. It's their place where they have the shoes, and even the little door opens. In the other one, I glued the stuff down to open, but this one I realized sewing it would be better. So there's little seams on there, and I made them visible because I thought it'd be cute. And I did a little French stitch or whatever on the side to look like the hinge. He woke early the next morning and went to his work table, ready to sew. However, as he approached it, he saw that the shoes were already made. He studied the shoes and saw that there was not a stitch out of place. They were perfect. He showed his wife, and she cried with joy. Later that day, she led a customer into their home. The shoemaker gave the customer shoes to try on. The shoes fit so perfectly that the customer offered to pay double. The shoemaker and his wife graciously accepted, using the money to buy enough leather for 2 pairs of shoes. The shoemaker cut out the leather and then went to bed. Here is the next one, so you can see their home looks a lot nicer now, and they have a lot more shoes on their shelf window, and they have cookies and a chandelier because they're living life large. And it's sparkly again because obviously when you make money, the first thing you do is pour glitter everywhere you live. And now their floors are solid gold because accuracy. I woke the next day to find 4 perfect shoes. They sold them for a handsome price and were able to buy more leather for shoes. They lived like this for a while, cutting the shoes out at night to find them stitched together the next morning. Soon the good couple were living comfortably again. One evening near Christmas, he was talking to his wife about their good fortune, and he had an idea to stay up that night and wait to see what happened. She excitedly agreed. So again, it's the same house, but now it's at night, so it's dark, and they have a spindle wheel in the front now, and it opens and it's stitched down, and it's actually a thing that was there instead of some random stupid pot. That night they hid behind the shelves. Right at midnight, 2 shoeless elves crawled in through the window and went right to the workbench to sew the shoes. They quickly finished them and ran out. The wife said the poor elves must be cold without shoes or coats of their own. They had made them rich, yet had nothing of their own. She suggested to the shoemaker that she sew coats and he'd make shoes to show them gratitude. He happily agreed. The next day, they left the elves their gifts. The elves came as usual to work, but when they saw the gifts, they laughed and cheered with joy. And then the night sky, again, sparkly. So this is the outside. In a moment, the elves were dressed and dancing out the door, skipping over the green and into the twinkling night. Though the good couple never saw them again, they continued to prosper and be happy from that time forward as long as they lived. Yay, this one's less of a traditional fairy tale, so it doesn't start with once upon a time and they lived happily ever. And then here's the back cover, and produced by cows, of course, like who else? And so yeah, this was definitely the shortest one, but I also think it was the neatest and best made. Cut to my face. So I hope you enjoyed this little felt book series. And if you enjoyed it, please leave a little like. And if you want to see more content, subscribe. Later.